So as I said before, we will be doing a Halloween video every single day for the rest of the month, and let's get on with the first video. I think this is going to be the very first video, right? So before we get into all of this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit that like button and that notification bell so you know when these videos drop. We got the On My Block Today video, we got American Horror Story this week, and a ton of other stuff, so don't miss out on any of that. But let's get into it. I gotta find a better place for this mic because this looks weird. But first off on my list, well, what am I even talking about? Right, I haven't even told you what this video is. These are my top slasher films, and I definitely do believe there will be some choices in here that some people might not find to be slashers, but hear me out. I still think they truly do hold that genre, and so let's get on with it. So first on my list is going to be It Follows, which is going to be the one that I feel a lot of people don't really see as a slasher, but I truly do believe it is one. Even though our slasher changes throughout and it's something more of a supernatural entity, I still feel it very much so holds that slasher feel of being chased, going through different scenarios as well. And I just truly felt the tension during this movie definitely is huge compared to other movies we've gotten, and I'm very sad that we never got a follow-up or anything, but also very happy at the same time. I was sad because I had heard they were doing it, but I was happy because I thought they never should have done it. I think the first film was so good, and I'm very excited that this is still a film that holds up to this day. I always catch myself listening to the soundtrack here and there, especially Heels. I think was one of the best soundtracks. It was one of the best songs in any horror film. Definitely one that just the tension rises as you listen to it. So definitely suggest you go back and watch it if you haven't already. And if you've already watched it, go back and watch it. I think I said it all mixed up. Number two on my list is, of course, Psycho. This is where I think the slasher was very much so. Maybe you don't have to say born, but I feel like solidified as to what it is. And many films that came forward borrowed so much from it. And I thought that this one was done perfectly as well. The tension is there. You keep on guessing till the end of what exactly is going on. And the kills and all of that definitely are very much so done in a perfect synchronization of tone as well, and just the pacing of it as well. Of course, we had a remake, we had a sequel. Leave that all to the side. Don't even touch those. Just watch the original and you'll be good. And if you've already watched it, go ahead and go back to it again. Next on my list is going to be Candyman. I feel like this one is very much so a film that is very underrated. I'm talking about the original one, but the new one as well. Check it out if you haven't. But the original is where it's at. I think that this one is one of the first horror films that is not catering to an audience that's just there for jump scares and all of that. I'm just talking backwards today, aren't I? But it's not just catering to all of those things. It's actually a smart horror that's actually presenting you the true horror of human nature as well. And I think that Candyman is a slasher that really does fit in this society that we have today as well. And I think it was so ahead of its time. Definitely you could put this movie out today in its entirety and you would definitely feel this movie is a representation of things we see today still. So that's why I put it up there high on my list, just because it was such a great slasher, but also its talking points and its symbolism is very much so prevalent as it was back then to it is today. So definitely one I recommend. Number two on my list is going to be Halloween. I feel like if Psycho very much so solidified the slasher, Halloween took it to the next level and really pushed the boundaries of what it was to make a horror film. I think John Carpenter really elevated the genre even further, and very much so that is the reason Michael Myers is the icon of Halloween and very much so deserving of that title. And I still don't know of any other slasher or horror icon that can take that from Michael Myers. I think that the Scream Queen was also the birth here of it, especially with Miss Jamie Lee Curtis, definitely serving that very well. And I'm excited to see what they do with Halloween Kills in a couple of weeks. So I think that Michael Myers Halloween, the original from 1970s, definitely deserves to be up here at number two. And that's blasphemous, right, that I'm putting them at number two. But don't worry, I'll explain why that is in a bit as I get to my number one. But definitely check this one out. Go to two if you want. That's pretty good as well. It gets a little wonky after three, and the remake from Rob Zombie is a little wonkier. I think that the remake in 2018 from David Gordon Green is a little better than Zombies. But still, go to the number 1 and 2 from the classic and you'll be fine. So now you're probably wondering, if Halloween is number 2, what could possibly even be number 1? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it might not be a surprise to you if you've been following me for so long already, but I think Scream is the best slasher. And the reason for that is because, as I said already, if Psycho gave birth and modernized the slasher, and then Halloween elevated to the next level, I think Scream brought it down to its knees and core and still gave us a great film. I think that Scream does so well is it is such a great horror film, as well as being a satire and critique of the industry as a whole, and really saying, you know what, all of these like slashers, B horror movies and everything from the 90s, boom, slammed them right on their face and said, let's start something more refreshing and new. Which is funny because a lot of Nightmare on Elm Street I felt was starting to fall into this repetitive nature of just pumping out a horror film for the sake of pumping up a horror film. And I think Scream, when it came out, just came in and just threw everything on the ground and said, all that shit's whack. We're gonna start over, get some refreshing stuff, stop being boring, and make some new horror. And I think that that revolutionized horror for the next like 10-15 years, as well as we started to get newer and fresher takes on horror as well. We saw a lot of other stuff come from other countries, all of that as well, but I think Scream was very much so that pivot moment in horror, and that's why I put it up there as a top slasher film, because of its like uniqueness, as well as its presence, and also its essence we still see in horrors today. And I'm excited for Scream 5 coming out next year. So anyways, let me know your thoughts on my list right now. What do you think of it? What is your top 5? What is your number 1? Let me know down below. I know it's going to be different. That's okay. We all have different taste and all of that, so I'm curious to know yours. And also make sure you comment down below your horror film, not only slasher. As I've said before in other videos and on my community post, I'm making a list of everybody's horror films so that I can make a big list the week before Halloween, so everybody has a list to watch during Halloween week. So leave those down below. But anyways, as always, that is going to do it for me. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell somewhere here or here, and make sure that you also give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you share it with everybody. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Let's get to it. I am doing another Halloween video tomorrow, every day, all that good stuff. Also on TikTok, Campfire Tales with a Z. You can check it right here. You can follow me on Twitter as well, NerdRound right here. But as always, that is going to do it for me. I'll see all of you next time. Check out the video on the left. Make sure you subscribe, notification bell on. Stay safe, stay positive.